Welcome to In the Know, the program that explores local issues and hot topics so that you'll be in the know. I'm your host, Mike Kasperzak, and today we're going to be talking about the Bullis Charter School. And today I have with me Francis LaPole, a former mayor of the city of Los Altos and a member of the board of directors of the Bullis Charter School, and Joe Hurd, the chairman of the board of the Bullis Charter School.
Good to be here.
Welcome, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So let's get right into it. I mean, the last time I heard, Bullis Charter School was like the top-ranked public school in the state of California. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Out of 8,800 elementary schools, last time they
Okay.
did STAR testing, we were number one. We've always been in the top 10.
all right. And the school was started classes in, I think you were saying earlier, about 2004?
Fall of 2004.
Okay.
Yes.
And how large was the school when you started?
150 students.
And today?
1,100.
Wow, all right. So, I mean, maybe you could tell the audience a little bit about the charter school movement itself, and then how Bullis really fits into that, because it really is, I mean, it's a phenomenal education from everybody I've ever talked to.
I think the charter school movement varies all over the country. In some places, it's an opportunity for children in an inner city to go to have an opportunity for a different school. In other places, it's an opportunity to create a competitive model, which is really more like what it is we are. And in fact, at the time we started, there had been a history where Los Altos School District had closed 4 public schools in succession over a period of years in the Los Altos and Los Altos Hills portion of those communities on the other side of Foothill Expressway. So there was no educational opportunity. That was the first thing that really got us going.
Right.
And
right.
the idea to take destiny into our own hands.
Mm-hmm.
So then a group of parents came together and they said, all right, how could we rethink a public primary school education and really do it from the ground up? And over the course of years and putting the petition together and starting the school, we ended up creating a school that really fills, I think, a pretty unique role within Los Altos, right? We have a lot of parents coming to us that appreciate the smaller class sizes, or having 2 teachers per classroom, or maybe an integrated Mandarin curriculum starting in kindergarten. But really for me and my family, when we made the choice, and I think a lot of other families as well, we were attracted to the school's K through 8 construction, right? So we run an integrated kindergarten through 8th grade curriculum, where you have the 8th graders working with the kindergartners and the 7th graders modeling good behavior for the 1st and 2nd graders. And it really is one community that comes together for those 9 years of education. I think the second thing that they did that was pretty interesting for the town is they adopted an individualized approach for students' education. So each student, the student, the teachers, the parents come together and they come up with an individually focused academic plan for that student for that academic year. We call them focused learning goals, areas of academic and non-academic focus for that student. And we run a STEAM curriculum, so really bringing STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts and math. That's right. So really teaching to the whole child, recognizing that learning doesn't just take place in the classroom, but you can also explain mathematical principles through dance, or explain scientific principles in your art class, right, or through drama. And bringing not just the hard academics, but the arts, drama, and music together as part of an integrated curriculum is something that a lot of parents found innovative.
Well, I've always, having been involved with the Community School of Music and Arts, I've
Sure.
always been sort of pushing the STEAM element and going to the high-tech execs saying, you guys really should be funding this, because artistically inclined engineers are better engineers
That's right.
overall.
Yeah.
And of course, the one CEO said, yeah, but I need engineers first. I don't care if they're all that artistic or creative. Sometimes I just need coders.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you never know how you're going to reach a student, right? So
right.
some students will respond to rote learning in the classroom. Some might be inspired by something they learn in choir or in music, and giving the educational staff a number of different pathways to reach the students. We thought was something that was novel to the district.
mm-hmm. I mean, and Francis, you sort of alluded to this, but I've also heard that charter schools were an opportunity to sort of be laboratories for new sort of educational techniques. I'm not stating that particularly well, but to do things that you might not be able to do in a traditional public school just because of the the behemoth that the state educational system is, and the rules and all of that. So,
Right. Traditionally, the state has even mandated which textbooks a school could use.
right.
And so you might have a choice of 3 textbooks. We don't pick from that. We pick a textbook that is recommended by the National Academy of Mathematicians. We have that kind of option where we don't have those same restrictions.
Right.
We also have our teachers, we give them more leeway in the classes to teach the way they want to. Most of our teachers came from public schools. They were tenured in public schools, and they chose to come to the charter school where they could express their educational abilities and their methods in a different environment where there is that kind of flexibility. And yet there's still the rigor.
Right. And are there, sort of going to the lab example for a second, are there sort of techniques or things that Bullis has explored that maybe you've shared and have gone on to other schools, maybe other charter schools have picked them up, or even sort of matriculated into the traditional public school system in California?
So we have Mandarin, and yet it's not a Mandarin where we try to teach every child to speak Mandarin, but it's suffused within our entire curriculum, or environmental studies and working to save the leatherback turtles. The students come together, sometimes from different grades, in project-based learning. So we PBLs. We'll hear other schools talk about that, and other schools are trying to adopt that, but it's not easy. Teachers need special training. We have 10 days of extra training for each of our teachers before the year starts, compared to maybe 1 or 2. But those are things that we do see, and in fact, other than the Los Altos School District, we often see our teachers going out into the community, to Mountain View Wisman, for example, and helping other teachers and training national board certification and getting their certifications. So yes, you see that community. We talk about character pillars, and we've seen that be adapted and adopted in the Los Altos School District. So certainly we do see others using what we've proven.
Right. Why reinvent the wheel if somebody else has figured it out?
The idea of having a second credential teacher in the classroom is something that has received national attention, and really is an amazing breakthrough to have that, where you always have 2 teachers. So if one's not there, the other one knows what's going on with each of those students, and to be able to give every student, special ed or not special ed, that extra attention, which in fact lets us even mainstream children more readily, which is the goal, of course, even in special ed, especially in special ed, is to provide the least restrictive environment. So we believe we have actually a better way of doing things.
Joe, you want to say?
Listen, we're here in Silicon Valley, right? This is the center of innovation, in the entire world. So why not innovate when it comes to educating your children? And that means you try a lot of different things. You see what works, and the ones that do work, you double down and do more of, and the ones that don't work, you discard and try something new. And that innovative spirit we look for in our teachers. We certainly look for it with Winnie Hersey, our founding superintendent, and the entire administrative staff. And we find that it resonates with a lot of our parents as well, and the kids certainly pick up on it.
Right. So Bullis is K through 8, right? And then they go probably around here, matriculate into the Mountain View Los Altos High School District. I mean, have you tracked the students, and how do Bullis students do at Los Altos, Mountain View against their peers from the traditional public school system?
Well, I have my own private mini experiment with my 6 children.
I'm going through one of mine now.
And statistically, sorry.
Well, I'd have to have 30 children. Don't have that many. It's not quite statistically accurate. They do very well at meta learning. That is, they know how to learn. They understand themselves as learners, and I see that as a difference. On a more specific level, academic level, I see that in their confidence and their ability to speak, their preparedness for mathematics.
Right.
And certainly one area where I see it manifesting in my own child and her friends, from an early age, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, the students at BCS are encouraged to take control of their own learning, right? To be in charge of their own education, right? So I was kind of shocked when I came in for my 5th grade parent-teacher conference, and my son is sitting right there, with us and the teacher, and he's running the parent-teacher conference. So I see now with my daughter coming into 9th grade, she knows what she's studying, and she knows why, right? And she's very confident expressing herself to her teachers and with their classmates, and really, taking charge of her own academic journey. I think a lot of that I would give credit to the teachers and staff at BCS.
Now, as a charter school, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but a charter school is a public school.
Yes.
It gets its funding through the public school system, through the Los Altos School District, from
It's
the
sort
state.
of a
and all.
sore spot because we get about half as much.
Okay. So where does
But pay 100% of the dollars,
right?
tax dollars.
So where does Bullis get the rest of the money that it needs to operate? And,
We have to fundraise.
okay.
We have to ask money from those who can give.
And so, I mean, you were talking about earlier, sort of, I think it was closing down the Bullis school. So, number of parents from Los Altos Hills, one of the wealthier zip codes in the United States. What's and I think this is one of the things that was in the letter that the LASD sent to Los Altos School District, for those that aren't up on acronyms, I think just wrote to the board and to the county board, was about sort of kids that are poor kids, or kids that may be reduced meal plans and that sort of thing. So how does Bullis deal with sort of the wage gap issues that we have around the community?
So it's interesting. If you look at English language learners, for example, we have over 10% English language learners, which is more than Oak, Springer, Loyola. We're pretty close to the average in the district. And then you have the outliers. You have Santa Rita at 38% and Alman at 23%. I think a bigger question is, how is it that Los Altos School District can criticize BCS when it has schools at 7, 8, 9% and other schools at close to 40%? It has control over who goes to which schools. We
And the
are the
district,
most
yeah.
we are the most geographically diverse school in the district. We have no choice who can attend. It's just simply a lottery. We pull balls. Well, we used to pull balls out. It is just a lottery. So, I think that's one answer. We try to do as broad an enrollment process as we can. We do it in multiple languages. We do it throughout the district, in Mountain View, Los Altos, Los Altos Hills, and we try to reach every possible person who might have a child they want to send to the school. It's really the best we can do.
Yeah. Is BCS limited to students within the LASD boundaries, or do you have can people come from outside the Los Altos School District?
So legally, a charter school is open to anyone in the state. But first preference is given to those who are within the school district, Los Altos School District in this case. And so as a practical matter, if one is not from the Los Altos School District, one is not going to get in.
Right. Especially now that it's so popular amongst parents and kids and high-achieving folks. So, yeah.
And after the first couple of years, that was the way it was, unless we added grades. And when
Right.
we add grades, then we've had an opportunity to bring more students in. We also offer programs over the summer, which are open, which are subsidized, and so it's allowed us to reach into communities that we might not otherwise be able to serve.
Right.
And so, I mean, sometimes as you drive around Los Altos, especially if you're an out-of-towner like me from Mountain View, you'll see various BCS campuses. I mean, I think you're over next to San Antonio Road at Egan's School, and then are you also out at Block?
We are.
And are those the two campuses, or are there more campuses?
Nope,
Just the two.
those are
Okay.
the two. Not by design.
Right,
You know,
right.
The school was originally envisioned, and still is, the goal to have one campus, all the students on one campus. And a few years ago, as a way of accommodating relations with the district, we agreed voluntarily to split up into two districts. But that wasn't the original goal of the school.
I'm gonna get to sort of the Mountain View question in a second, but most of the LASD schools are all around the 500 student area, right? Aren't they? in terms of their
Some of
regular
them have
population?
hollowed out, and they're heading into the 300s. But,
Okay.
but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there aren't any that are 1,000
No.
or 1,500.
Bullis,
So,
Oak and Loyola, yeah.
you know, I mean, I guess, you know, sort of one of the questions is sort of as a comparable facility, you know, does the school district currently have any facility that could accommodate the entire Bullis campus into one school?
At least 3.
Oh, really?
Egan, Block, and Covington.
Okay. Okay. You know, like as Block is
And-
split between, right?
Covington used to be a junior high.
Okay.
So
right,
it's a
so,
larger
right.
campus.
But, yeah.
Right.
And Egan is the middle school, right? So,
Egan's a junior high, calls itself a junior high,
Okay.
and Block calls itself
Right.
a middle school.
okay.
Right. And
Okay.
the key thing there is,
Or
you know,
intermediate.
for junior high students, you need to have, you know, science labs and home ec rooms and, you know, rooms with stoves. You need to have specific facilities. So,
Right.
as Francis said, there are 3 schools within the district
Got
that
it.
could allow the school to run its program.
Now, you know, in Mountain View, and we were talking a little earlier before we went on air, we were talking about the Los Altos School District, the transfer development rights so they could build a new school over at the San Antonio Shopping Center. And of course, lots of options. I mean, there's option of moving Egan there, and that's looking to be a tougher sell in the Los Altos community, I think, than maybe their representative thought it might be. There's been talk as maybe that's where BCS could go. And of course, there could be just a regular LASD school that would just be, you know, a regular, you know, public school there. You know, I've heard issues about some of the that make it, a lot of people, they're going to put BCS there. But then I've also heard, well, just size-wise, that it's not large enough to accommodate BCS. And I was curious about if you guys have had discussions about that, or if you've got any insight for what that site is and how accessible that would be for a BCS campus.
Yeah. So, I don't have any insight about what's going to happen with the
Right. I mean,
10th
it's
site,
because it's
right?
their decision ultimately.
It's the district's decision ultimately,
Right.
but I think you could even question the premise of whether we actually need a 10th site and to spend that money on the 10th site, and many people in our community have questioned that. But the decision's been made. You know, the 10th site's going to be purchased. I think, you know, speaking for myself, I've always wondered whether it makes sense to put the largest school by far, right, in the district
Right.
on the smallest site by far, right, within the district, and to have kindergartners, first and second graders, you know, crossing, you know, not one but 2 major thoroughfares in the area. But I don't have any insight as to what the district's plans
Right.
are.
Right.
And certainly there is no. We did have an agreed upon proposal earlier this year, but nothing's happened since then. We
Right,
have to go through
right.
the process.
So one thing, the school right now it's got 2 campuses. What do you do, like what, K through 4 and
K5.
5,
K through
K5
5
and
and K
then
through
At
8.
Block
Yeah,
and
again,
K8
right.
at Egan.
Yeah,
Again,
so-
an accommodation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we
and
did
the goal was to have Bullis on one site, not just for Bullis, but so that Bullis would not be impacting a district
Multiple
school.
communities,
right.
that's right.
Right.
So it would seem that the district would want to put Bullis on one site.
Mhm.
Otherwise, why buy the property?
Right. I mean, you know, as an outsider looking in on Los Altos School District, and you know, there's, you know, it's like, oh, you know, you just see the push and pull, and you know, I've written letters in support of Bullis, and the superintendent says, what the heck are you doing? And other times I'll do something for LASD, and it's like, yeah, you got to be careful which side of bed you wake up in the morning. You know, depending on the day, it is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things in the community. Somebody just the other day was talking about, can't we all just get along, you
Yeah.
know, and really think about the kids? So,
That's right. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, right? You know, I think we would all be better served if we could focus our efforts on, you know, the 5,000-ish students in Los Altos School District and what resources and materials and support they need to further their education. That's in our collective best interest, right? So very much would like to see
Right.
those days come.
And so just in the paper, I think last week, and I think it was the town crier. It was reported that the school district had written a letter to the Bullis board and to you're chartered by the county, not by the school district, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
The district declined to approve our charter, and then the county actually originally sent it back with directions essentially to approve the charter, and the district still refused. So ultimately, when a charter is declined at the local level, at the district level, the county is the next step up.
Right. Just sort of out of curiosity, I mean, what do you think Bullis charter would be like today had the district done the charter?
I'm not sure that we would exist.
Really? Why?
Because I think LASD would have taken the opportunity to disband.
Okay.
Disband.
Or
And I think looking back, they probably would say they made a mistake.
So, I mean, you're not the only charter school in California, and the people in so the Mountain View, Los Altos area probably have this vision that charter schools, this creates this love-hate relationship within the community. In other communities across the state where there are charter schools, do they have different relationships than has grown up around Bullis and Los Altos School District?
Well, you see superintendents in Los Angeles, for example, being more receptive.
And
Depends.
based on what?
Based on perhaps how political the superintendent is,
Okay.
and to whom the superintendent answers. Yeah.
So, go ahead, Joe.
I think, I'm trying not to get too far ahead of my skis here, but I think, in a perfect world, right, where you have an incumbent, a district, right, and a challenger, a charter school within that district, that, by statute has the freedom to innovate and try new things. In a perfect world, you'd have almost a virtuous circle, right, where each side would be learning from the other and trading information back and forth. Everybody gets stronger, right? We see that in our business, lives here in Silicon Valley. Leader, fast follower, not a bad position to be in. Everybody wins. I know that ethos exists elsewhere in the country and elsewhere in this state, and I think it'd be our collective hope that we could get to that point here in this district as well. Everybody would win.
Right. I think one of the things is I read, and of course my source is the town crier, maybe the Mountain View Voice, but the gist of the letter had to do with sort of the diversity of the student body in terms of sort of what we talked about earlier, ability to pay and that. And I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to talk about a response, or what are your thoughts about that? I mean, because we were talking about the show admissions, and everybody wants a broad, diverse student body because it's good for everybody, and we want to give those educational opportunities to as wide and broad a number of students as possible.
What do you mean by diverse?
Everything that it implies. I mean, ethnicity, the earning capacity of the parents, all of that.
Ethnically, we're extremely diverse.
Right. Okay.
And in terms of economics, we're pretty much in the middle. We have a couple of schools in the district that are outliers, but we're more diverse than, for example, English language learners than Oak, Springer, or Loyola. I it's a trope. It's actually something that's used nationally as a way to attack charter schools. You'll see it, and it actually doesn't really matter. And what's interesting, I think, in this case, is nationally this argument's being raised, and so it was put into a letter and sent to the district. And I don't think they actually said, "Wait a minute, what are our numbers?" Because if they'd done that, they would have said, "Oh, we probably shouldn't be raising this because we have a school that has 40% English language learners, and we have others that are at 7, 8, and 9. That's a problem, and they're actually in control. So the Attorney General probably should be looking at them."
So, and then again, based on the media, I mean, I think it's been reported that the county board has, I'll sort of say, been on Bullis's case about sort of improving improving is that the number of low-income students in the school district, and some had speculated that that was sort of the impetus for the Bullis Mountain View effort last year, I guess it was, or maybe earlier this year. And I don't know if that's an accurate statement of what the county board has weighed in on or not.
I'm not aware of anything from the county board.
No.
Okay.
No.
We've been, the outreach to Mountain View wasn't something new. We've reached out to communities all across the Bay Area and have sought to help where we can, offering our teachers, offering our program, offering materials. We run the equivalent of Junior Olympics for a number of the charter schools that are extremely diverse, way more diverse certainly than Los Altos School District.
For the last 8 or 9 years during the summer, we've been running a summer bridge program and a stretch to kindergarten program, again, oriented towards the surrounding communities. So none of this is anything new, right? The school's been doing this because it's part of our charter. It's part of the school's mission, right? To serve the diverse communities in which the school resides. So I'm not aware of anything new that we're doing that we haven't already always done.
Now I know the school district right now is doing a bunch of community meetings, doing a number of charrettes to try and move forward on the site issues that sort of that there'd been the agreement and then it sort of collapsed a little bit. Is Bullis like officially participating, encouraging your parents to get involved in that? And
yes, yes, we are actively encouraging. We are actively encouraging our parents to participate. Please go to the charrettes. Please participate in the workshops. Please show up and speak out about all the things that you feel make the school a great school for your child and asset for the community.
I suppose we should say now that the viewers of this could go in and participate, find out from the school district when those are, but they're all like over throughout the next month or so, right?
That's correct. There are, I think, 2 charrettes, one this coming Wednesday, the 25th, one on October 5th, and then the 2 workshops, which take the information from the charrettes and then sort of synthesize them to drive towards a conclusion, happen in early November.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Some in the morning, some in the evenings, some during the week, some during the weekend. But
right, to get as many people, and that's to do the, figure out about Egan and the San Antonio campus and all of that. Well, believe it or not, we are out of time. And I just want to thank you both for being here again.
Thank you.
Joe Hurd, the chairman of the board of the Bullis Charter School Board of Directors, and Francis LaPole, a member of the board and prominent local attorney. It's great to see you both, and thank you for joining us here on In the Know.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.